chilling with my brother Kevin.
And I'm chilling with my brother Kendall.
This video captures the actual mark rounding at the first windward mark of Race 3 at the 2024 Flying Scot Davis Island Regatta in Tampa, Florida. The camera is an Insta360 RS1 mounted on the tiller of Flying Scot 5954 Gadzooks. Because it is a 360-degree camera, we can see all around the boat. This first clip captures the events as experienced on Gadzooks. A timer will pop up on the screen about 35 seconds into the video that times the event. The experience on Gadzooks lasted no more than 20 seconds from the time they realized they had a problem to the time they were back on track racing again. After the first clip, a second clip will be introduced where a more global experience will be shown. The camera will zoom in and pan around, showing the number and locations of the various boats. This will give you, the viewer, the opportunity to see more detail about different boats and their paths. Finally, we'll review the event in an animation and discuss what each boat did. An analysis of right and wrong, or rather which vessels had the right of way and which vessels were burdened, will not be discussed. The purpose of this video is to illustrate how quickly things change on the race course and to provide a basis for discussions on windward mark rounding rules. And while there may be slight mistakes in the animation, the general challenges faced by each boat should be correct.
Got inside right. I got to clear it now. See it? I wanted to stop the boat and go behind them. Oh! Stop the boat? Yeah! They're all stopped. Every one of them. One more dang back. Nope. Going right now. Gotta go!
This animation covers the cluster that occurred at the first Windward mark of Race 3 at the Flying Scot Davis Island Regatta in January 2024. It accompanies the video of the actual event. Flying Scot 5954 Gadzooks, pictured here, used an Insta360 RS1 camera mounted on her tiller to capture the video. A frame-by-frame analysis of the video was done to create this animation. The timer applied to the video was used to maintain consistency with the sequence of events presented herein. Boat colors have been used in place of sail numbers both to simplify identification in this animation and to protect the identities of the specific parties. That said, the astute observer will be able to decode the colors to the numbers. In the upper left-hand corner of each slide is the time after the timer starts. While not specific to the second, it is general to the time identified. We start this discussion around 6 seconds into the timer. The port and starboard ley lines are identified by the red and green dashed lines respectively. The zone around the mark is also identified, and the grid squares are approximately 3 boat lengths in length each. In analyzing the cluster, several boats should be watched. First, note that Gadzooks is the white boat in the lower right corner, approximately 12 boat lengths from the mark. It is from this boat that the video was taken. Second, note that the pink and yellow boats as they are approaching the mark. Pink is on the inside, yellow on the outside, but not overlapped as pink enters the zone. Third, notice that the brown boat has well overstood the ley line. Fourth, notice that red has decided to bear away and sail below and behind pink, yellow, and the moss-colored boats. From the camera, it is not clear if perhaps there was an additional boat, such as the salmon one, possibly blocking red's way. We only know from the video that red chose to bear off and sail behind the 3 boats. As we progress through the video, at least 2 boats will go into irons and get stuck, yellow and moss. This results in both boats losing positions, and this also creates additional challenges for the boats behind and around them. The boats are sailing to the mark, most on starboard, on the starboard ley line. Here, we are 9 seconds into the timer on the video. As the boats converge on the mark, note that the green boat tacks onto starboard ahead of blue and white. Green is close enough to both moss and red, but just outside the ley line with somewhere around 5 boat lengths to the mark. Pink appears to be pinching just to get to the mark. At 12 seconds into the timer on the video, we see that yellow has overtaken pink, and pink is nearly head to wind. Yellow had to luff to get by pink. Red has ducked pink, yellow, and moss and is starting to head up, and it would appear ready to tack. Cantaloupe-colored boat is converging on green, and salmon has cleared the windward mark and is heading to the offset. Ice blue and brown are also likely to clear the mark soon. Note what happens to pink and yellow. They have exchanged positions and likely bumped into each other. Analysis of the video shows that pink stopped and slipped backward slightly and slid across yellow's stern. Yellow, now head to wind, has no control, and pink is bearing away trying to catch some wind and some headway and some control. Meanwhile, moss is caught up in this mess and is also head to wind, and red has completed her tack and will almost certainly run into trouble with moss. Cantaloupe has passed in front of green and is tacking, likely thinking she has left enough room to get around the mess. However, she's on the zone circle, and there are 4 boats inside of her that may stack up, causing her grief. We are 22 seconds into the timer on the video. It is this point that Kendall yells, "Go high and tack around this mess." Yellow has hit the mark and is in irons. Moss is also in irons. Green has no hole to go into. Red appears to be avoiding the majority of the mess, but Cantaloupe is almost certainly going to get caught up into it. Blue has not significantly deviated from her course since the beginning of the video. She's on starboard and heading toward the mark at full steam. Silver, approaching the mark on port, is likely thinking to tack inside of Blue or right behind her. 5 seconds later, Yellow is still stuck in irons against the mark. Pink, Moss, Green, and Cantaloupe are essentially head to wind. A lot of yelling is going on. Gadzooks is being tossed around by her jib and is in irons too. Moss is in a world of hurt. She's so badly in irons that she's sliding backwards. Silver is ducking Blue, and Blue apparently sees an opportunity that is not yet clear in this animation. Blue sees a hole. Yellow has drifted off the mark and left a hole at her stern right at the mark. Blue takes advantage of the mess and slips through the hole, passing 7 boats. Meanwhile, Silver, right astern of her, decides to follow. Moss continues to drift backwards, but Pink and Cantaloupe have caught wind and are now moving forward. So is Gadzooks in the white boat, but Green and Moss are still somewhat head to wind, so Gadzooks is a bit stuck. Red, having essentially gone outside the pinwheel, is off again to the races. 38 seconds into the mess, and Blue passes astern of Yellow through the hole before Yellow slides backwards yet again, cutting off Silver from slipping through. Silver chooses to circle to port and come back around to the mark. Moss has slid backwards so far that she's now able to fall off onto port and go astern of Green and Gadzooks. The rest of the boats begin to fall off and sail toward the offset mark. 44 seconds. Blue now leads the pack. Yellow has gotten stuck at the mark, but is beginning to get wind in her sails. Moss is astern of Gadzooks with enough momentum to tack around. Silver is bearing away and doing a circle to get back to the mark before the next set of boats arrives. Gadzooks is starting to get some momentum and is bearing away as Moss passes her stern. At 50 seconds into the mess, all the boats are underway and Silver is reapproaching the mark for the second time. Moss is in the process of tacking around the mark. At 55 seconds, Gadzooks is reaching the offset mark ahead of Silver and Moss. Unfortunately, Gadzooks could not hold her position and finished behind both Silver and Moss, and all of the other boats that are ahead of Gadzooks at this point also finished ahead of her. I hope you enjoyed this video and animation analysis. Some lessons are more challenging than others. Until I did the animation, I truly felt that finding a hole like Blue did would be a great solution. But Silver showed it was unlikely to work, and Red demonstrated the viability of going outside the entire pinwheel. Keeping moving is better than stopping unless you have no other choice and need to avoid a collision. Sail fast.
Sailing with my brother Kevin.
And I'm sailing with my brother Kendall.